Eclipse Games, the podcast where we bring you the latest in gaming news, indie reviews, and everything else under the sun. My name is Kendall, and I'm here with my co-host,
Tony, aka Daylight Dark Soul.
Okay, you on a streak. I'll give it to you. You're on a little streak. You've honed in on to my interests, so it's hard for me to give you my objective views on these terrible dad puns, but they're not bad.
I'm not here for objectivity. I'm not here for that.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair.
For that shit.
Of course, we are here
to hit home runs.
To hit home runs. That's why we're here today, and we are here for episode 20. We made it 20 episodes in, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you're joining us on YouTube, you might see only a few of them. We're about, I think, 4 episodes in video form, but we are 20 episodes into the podcast. You can find the rest in audio form, but rolling right along, keeping it going. You know, Eclipse Games starting to come into that nice cadence. We're going to try to get you video episodes as close to the audio as possible, but we'll see how that works out. That's going to be like a week by week sort of thing. But of course, we are here for the week of July 31st, I think is the first day of the week next week. We record a little early. And we have a special episode for you guys. Episode 20, we wanted to do something a little different. So actually, it was not my idea. I'm not taking the credit for it. I'm going to actually let Tony go ahead and take it away. You go ahead and break it down. What are we doing today?
All right, so, like Kendall said, episode 20 it's a mini milestone. We'll come back around for 25 and maybe try to figure something out. But 20 is a mini milestone, It's not that we didn't expect to be doing 20, but, we kind of didn't expect to be doing 20.
Not everybody makes it.
Hey, man, look, that's not everybody make it. Not everybody want to keep doing the shit, but, we kind of want to keep doing the shit, and we're not doing too bad. Nice. So basically, this week, we're doing a game and mixtape. Now, I'm prefacing with this. This is not a greatest gaming songs of all time discussion. This is not that. This is not a greatest OST discussion. This is us putting together 10 tracks and making a gaming mixtape out of it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go straight through our 10 because we actually spent a significant amount of time sequencing shit. Like, we took this shit seriously. This is dumb as fuck, but we took it seriously as hell.
Yes.
Like, I was at work flipping the order of my shit for like 2 hours, just trying to get it right. So this is how we're going to get into it. The main rule here is no pre-existing songs, no licensed songs. This is all OST shit. I have found a loophole on that. And if you know me well enough, you know where my loophole is. So we're going to get into it.
Okay. I'm going to just say, the person that makes the rules should not be finding loopholes in their own fucking contract. But we're gonna let it rock.
It's called being white.
We're gonna let that rock. We have no choice but to let that rock. So we're gonna let it rock.
All right. Track 1
okay.
is the opening to WCW NWO Revenge. The intro, the actual cutscene in the beginning when you turn the game on.
And just to clarify, we both did separate lists. This is Tony's track 1. He's going to go through his 1 through 10, and I'm going to go through mine. So, okay.
Right. Because we don't want to mess up the sequencing. Like, we actually really did put some time into this shit.
Thanks.
I wanted some shit that's going to come right out, man. That guitar riff, that shit, it hits you right in the chest every time. Like, I've never, in all the years I've played that game, I have never skipped that intro. Ever. It's like a Netflix intro to me. Or not, let's not even say Netflix. It's like the Peacemaker intro. Everybody that watches Peacemaker knows you don't skip that intro.
Facts.
And if you skip that motherfucker, you can't be trusted.
Yeah, you gotta watch it. I want to
every time
put a pin in that note of I never skipped this intro. I'm gonna come back to that at the end of my list. So you go ahead.
Bet. All right, track number 2, the ending theme to Sonic 3. This is where my loophole comes in.
I figured that very, very quickly. Yep.
This is where my loophole comes in. Because as most of us already knew for the last 15 to 20 years or so, and was recently confirmed, Michael Jackson did the soundtrack for Sonic 3. Not the whole thing, but some tracks. The ending during the Sonic 3 sounds like Stranger in Moscow.
Yeah.
Like, it's straight up like...
That's the song, yeah.
Yeah, but... It is an OST song, so it works.
I'll give it to you. You're the reason I didn't put Sonic 3 music on my list, so I'll give it to you. I knew.
Yeah, So yeah, that's just the obvious one, man. It's an MJ sounding like, Mike, my goat. I had to find a way to get him in there, and I think I missed my opportunity last episode. Number 3, the title music to NBA Live 95. And if you don't remember this, if you really, really listen to it, it kind of sounds like a Prince track. This isn't a loophole thing. It's just, it sounds like a Prince track. So it's kind of fire.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Like that guitar, like that shit, it sounds just like it. It's crazy.
We're gonna have to try to like. I don't know how YouTube's gonna like this. I'm gonna try to see if I can put
gonna try. They're going to block the living hell out of this.
If we put the video game music behind us talking, I don't know. I'll look into it before we do it. I ain't promising that you're gonna hear these songs, but like I made a YouTube playlist of my songs. I'll link my playlist, and if we can find all the ones you put up, Sonny, we'll make one for you.
And we might as well just do that because everything I got was off of YouTube. Like I was just thinking of them, and I was just pulling them off YouTube.
Exactly. So we'll link our playlist underneath. Yep.
And we'll maybe throw up a screenshot of both of our mixtapes like side by side. Try and make that work.
Facts. I'm gonna make a cover. I'm making a cover.
No, man. Look, I might get the whole Photoshop going and everything, man.
Yeah, it's gonna crazy.
Do some DJ drama shit.
I am not mad.
Number 4, and this one is very specific because all of the music for this game is dope, like across the series, but the character select screen for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Man, that's okay. I'm not mad at that one.
Every game before it had that really like orchestral sound to it, and it was all dope. But Ultimate seemed like it just took it to like 100. Like they added 50 more people and said, just do everything. It's so open. It's big. And like I'm 4 tracks in and it's all like up tempo, heavy hit. Like I just wanted all that shit to come right out the gate hitting.
I'm not mad. So, man, I can't wait to get to my list. The duality is crazy. We're gonna
yeah. I wanted hits, man. I wanted this to be like some drought shit.
I like it. I can vibe with that.
Number 5, The Magician from What Lies in the Multiverse. Our first 5 out of 5 game.
Yes, sir.
A game that I will continue for the rest of my life to shout from the rooftops about its greatness. But the soundtrack is also just as good. It's like I was listening to it at work. They did the A side and the B side because it's like 30 something tracks, I think, to a side on the streaming services. So you actually got to like download both.
That's crazy.
But The Magician sounds like Friend Like Me from Aladdin. Friend Like Me. So it's real bouncy. So I want to get in the middle of my shit and I just wanted something really bouncy. And then for track 6, that's when I started to slow it down. Guardia Millennial Fair from Chrono Trigger.
Man, my guy.
It's not like totally slow, but it's like mid-tempo. Like you coming down just a little bit.
Yeah. It's relaxed. It's not down tempo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to get Chrono Trigger on there somehow. I thought about Gado's theme, but up tempo was fuck. So I wanted to bring it down just a little bit. And I just like that's some of the best. That game has some of the best town music,
by far,
in RPGs, but like in gaming. Period.
That's one of those. I'm trying not to spoil my list by giving feedback to you on your list, but that's one of those. I'll just say was going to make both of our lists somehow. Chrono Trigger was going on there.
No, I figured you. That's why I struggled with putting that on there because I'm like, I know he's gonna have one on there, at least one.
Yep.
And then we're gonna slow all the way down.
Okay.
With the Ocarina of Time title thing, like when you turn the game with that fucking flute and the piano. Man.
It's crazy because I had to come up with your list to make my list so I could leave off the shit that I knew was on it. I'm like, man, that's a golden song, but I gotta just let it happen.
There's actually another track from that game that I actually left off because I was going way too up tempo. Can you guess what it is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can guess what it is. We already had this conversation a couple episodes ago, and it's the Gerudo's thing.
No, you're wrong.
I'm shocked. I cannot believe. Okay, so that's my first L. Okay.
Yeah. No. We'll get to that.
Okay.
No, it's Sorry Song.
Okay.
Sorry Song is the one I left off.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's the one.
Why I'm wrong. Now I understand why I'm wrong. Okay.
I didn't want to leave it off, but I had to.
That's
and the reason I had to is the next 2 tracks.
Right.
And this is going to surprise you even more because we've had these conversations, and you're kind of like the loudspeaker for this particular series.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, and it's an accepted classic amongst all gamers. Escape from the City from Sonic Adventure 2.
Yes, sir. I love it. I appreciate it.
Had to come out that slow shit and hit you with something, that guitar, like that shit. Immediately, you know what it is. As soon as you hear that, like, it's time to run down some hills. We just gonna run down the hill, and if we start tumbling and shit, so the fuck what?
Big facts.
That's a classic
Sets the
soundtrack
whole
song.
tone.
Man, that is the song on that game. I don't care what any of the other songs are. That's the song on that game.
Oh, yeah.
I got that shit on my phone. Like, I be listening to it like separately from the game. Like, this shit is incredible to me.
Man,
forever for the rest of my life.
That's an all-time intro song. You know, like for a game to set its tone right then and there, up there.
Bruh. Speaking of intro songs, I'm gonna take a break from my list. There's like 5 tracks on here that I wanted to open with.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna open with the NBA Live title music.
See, and that would have been fire. And I get that. I get where you're going.
I was going to open with Escape from the City.
Which, again, it's like goated intro music. You know what I mean? Like, that sets such a tone. Such a damn tone.
I struggle with that.
Let me just say, like, so if y'all don't know, I have a history of making music and everything. And the hardest part, it's either the hardest or the easiest part. The hardest part is the intro and the outro. Either you going to keep flipping it because you want the first song. For me, also the second track, because the intro, you can get kind of weird. That's your intro, you know, that's your whatever you want to do on that joint. But like that first real track is so hard to pick, you know what I mean? Like in any musical context, you're going to be flipping it in and out, or it sets the whole tone for the project in the first place. Like you had the intro before you knew what the name of the shit was, and now you just filling the rest of the shit up. You know what I mean? Like, it's the hardest part. I just wanted to vent for a minute. I don't really
because that's facts. Because I mean, you look at like I mean, hell, they just running back to it. Thriller.
Yeah,
that motherfucker open with "Wanna Be Starting Something." Mike letting you know from the jump, like, nah, this ain't off the wall. I'm coming for y'all next.
Facts. These the vibes.
Man, like, that's one of the best opening tracks ever. But 100%. Number 9, okay. And I'm kind of tripling up here, and I think this might surprise you. Chemical Plant Zone from Sonic 2.
All right, so we got our first dupe. Okay. All right.
Okay, so you on that one?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we got our first dupe.
That's another one I struggle with, because, like, to me, that's like one of the, other than like the classic Sonic, like the 2D Sonic songs, I feel like Chemical Plant Zone is like one of the best ever.
I think it's the best. I mean, I think it's number 1 in my eyes. For the 2D, yeah, like, I think that's number 1.
Dog, like, I feel like that should just be like known amongst everybody.
Yeah.
And then I'm riding out number 10, Gerudo Valley.
Yep. Okay. I was about to say
that Spanish guitar, man. You got you got to end on that shit. That's the joint you riding off in the sun right in front of you setting. Like, 100%. You gotta ride out with that one. You can't keep that one in the middle. You gotta ride out with that.
I like the choice. I do. And I realized right after, I was like, oh yeah, I know which one you left off. It's Gerudo Valley. As I said the words left off Gerudo Valley, I'm like, that don't sound right.
Ain't no way.
That's not right.
That was the first one that was on my Word doc. I just had to figure out where to put it.
Outro before anything else. I'm telling you, man, every time, bro. It's how I go.
That was the first thing I wrote. When I came up with this, it was already in the Word doc.
Listen, you had that upbeat, up-tempo ass outro, and then you had to match that vibe retroactively, and then get your intro that was going to set the tone to how you expect Gerudo Valley at the end. This shit get deep, y'all. Y'all don't even understand this.
I spent time trying to get this shit right.
And I mean, like, it wasn't even, I know that this video is not going to do like 20,000 views, you know what I mean? But we're going to act like we're trying to sell 500,000 records. Like, so.
Bruh, we A&R'd the fuck out of this shit, man.
Facts. I approve. I would bump your mixtape. I would say that. That's some, it's like, it's got a beat vibe. I mean, you said it a million times. Like, it's some workout music, you know, some get your day going type music. I can fuck with it. So, getting into my list, I appreciate the duality of our list, because I went completely chill. Like my shit is just so mellow, it's crazy. And that's because
okay, and that's for one particular reason.
Yep. It's just, listen, man. It is for a particular reason, and we also touched on that. So many things you said. I was just like, I can't wait to talk about this. I'm going to tie into three things we already talked about: your upbeat versus my mellow, your outro being the first track you pick versus my intro, and your need to include Chrono Trigger. All three of them at once, because my intro was always going to be this, the Secret of the Forest. Like that was going to be the intro to that shit the whole time. And once I decided that, how am I not gonna make this shit mellow as hell? Like this shit can't.
Yeah, you can't,
like,
you can't bump up or slow down from that.
You feel me? Like this is the most cooling ass song ever. I love that. Might be my favorite video game song. Like just generally speaking, it might be. So if you haven't heard Secret of the Forest, go bump that. If you haven't, I'm shocked that you're listening to this. My track 2, going off of that, I wanted to kind of keep the mellow vibe going, but with a little bit more bounce to it. So I also went Sonic Adventure 2, but I went with the Aquatic Mind song. Dive into the mellow. Yeah, man. That beat, bro, lives in here forever. Like that shit is such a vibe. Like everybody I talk to, I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I like Pumpkin Hill better. I like this one, but I'm like, as soon as I press play, like, oh shit, this actually kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's got that vibe to it.
Hold on, because I'm about to throw my first guess out here.
Okay.
How many water related tracks you got on this shit?
You know what? I get what you're getting at, but I don't think I actually have any other like water. Like I don't have Dire Dots. If that I know that's yeah, I know because that fits right. But
yeah, that's what I was like. When you said that, I'm like, oh, he probably got this shit.
You know, the reason I don't have Dire Dots is the same reason I made it so chill, right? I don't like when the drums kick in, man. Like it don't hit the same. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So if it was just the first part of that song, I would be like, yes, that's perfect. That would
just
loop
that. Yeah,
bro, I can tell you where I had it on this playlist before I took it off. Like that shit was really on here. So good guess. I would say that. But no, track 3, I actually wanted to switch it up a little bit and kind of bring up the energy a little bit because I went for a Persona 5 song. That's another game series that had to make this. And I could have went with the song that plays like when you come back to your room every night. Most chill fucking song ever. It fits, but I went with Last Surprise, which is like the battle song that plays during that game. Just to kind of bring the tempo up a little bit, but something that's still kind of jazzy and cool, and like it's not the craziest, most upbeat thing in the world, but it fits, I think. So after Last Surprise, that's where I slided Chemical Plants on in. That joint kind of just it fit right there.
Yeah, that's the perfect spot for it. If you were staying mellow, you had to put it right there.
Yep, absolutely. It's still pretty mellow song. Again, I could have picked up more mellow Sonic song, but how am I leaving that song off my soundtrack? Like that's not my soundtrack, you know. So yeah, that's track 4. So for the halfway point, we kind of went back to the mellow vibe, and I went with the Besaid Island theme song from Final Fantasy X. I don't know if you remember that theme. Like when you when you first meet Waka. Not even the theme that plays in the town. It's kind of like it's got that like island vibe, but this one is kind of more like an almost electronic. Like it's pretty upbeat, but it's also very relaxed and chill. And like that song again lives in my head forever because it set the tone for the game to me. It's fucking bright and sunny, and you swimming through that clear ass blue water, and like that's why I love Final Fantasy X. It feels like that to me. That
whole game's aesthetic is like a day at the beach minus the blitzball sections.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And then I mean, it started with like the coolest fucking city I've ever seen. Spoilers, that shit don't last long. But everything else, the whole rest of the game though, yeah, like it's just a sunshiny, like perfect, clear blue water beach. Like it's amazing. So that made it. That fun fact about my list, that actually made it over the Lurelin Village theme from Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Because it fit better. Like I was like, I'm telling you, man, we was really thinking about this shit. No. It slotted in a little better.
I think I took 4 Zelda tracks. Like it was turning into like a mostly Zelda thing. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I gotta come up off of some of this. I know too much about video games to just have Zelda shit on here.
Facts. And like again, there was so many songs I could have used. Actually, the only Zelda song I included on here, it's almost like I had a wealth of riches and I couldn't decide, so I only put one on. And I tried to limit myself for one per series. Sonic broke that, but I did put Sheik's theme from Ocarina of Time as an interlude right here at track 5.
Okay, you got
So
interludes and shit. All right,
yeah. I
you
thought
fancy,
about it.
you
I tried. I'm
fancy.
like, yeah, let's break up the vibe. That way you ain't gotta keep the same exact tone going. Cause I think the rest of the joint kind of is a little bit darker, almost. Not really, but kinda, So that's track 6. So let me recap. We got Chrono Trigger, Secret of the Forest. We got, Aquatic Mind from Sonic 2, Persona 5, Last Surprise, that's track 3, Chemical Plant Zone, and Besaid Island. Okay, yeah. So track 6 is Sheik's theme, and then track 7 is the underground theme from Yoshi Island. If
Mm, mm,
man,
mm.
I was gonna say, if I can get through that sentence without you making that reaction, you might not know but if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, that
Yeah,
shit,
yeah,
man.
right, that right.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. I don't know how they made a song that fire in that era, but it's just it. But I mean, this
Bro, them
same
chip
era as
tunes, man.
yeah, it's the
Them
same era
chip
as,
tunes be hitting.
I take that back. Super Nintendo was on that. But it
Look,
just seems so simple and it's so fucking fire. So that's my track 7. Track 8, keeping with that sort of more mellow tone that I kind of got to. I put Greenpath from my Hollow Knight on there because that's another
okay.
very, very chill, very mellow, relaxed song that I listen to when I'm like, you can listen to that song and meditate. Like you'll fall asleep listening to that motherfucker. But
Oh, good. I
it's
need
all
that. Let me run that
facts.
tonight.
Throw that on that playlist. That shit is actually a beautiful song though. Um, Number 9, I just said fuck it and threw everything out the window. And we started that. I wanted to keep a melodic tone, but get the pace up for my outro. And so number 9 is Jenova's theme from Final Fantasy VII. Just that, like,
Okay, so you just
yeah,
decided to use.
I'm gonna let you chill the whole album, and then we picking it up. We picking it up.
I'm gonna punch you in your chest. Right
Yep,
in the head.
yep. Because we got to end on a high note, right? And when I started this, I was like, I had my intro, but I couldn't figure out an outro. And then it dawned on me, the only outro that I could have picked is number 10, which is Sanctuary from Kingdom Hearts 2. Like,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
motherfucker is an outro, bro.
yeah.
Man,
You got to turn off your phone, shut down your laptop, turn your TV off,
facts,
whatever it is you listening on. You just got to turn it off after that because you can't do
facts.
nothing else
You
on
gotta
your
get,
device.
and you just gonna be sitting there, your heart's gonna be pacing and shit like,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
over. It's,
You got everything got cut off after that.
100%. And
That feel like a song that should play at your funeral, right? Like right when the casket drop, and that just be the end of it. That's it.
you know, it feels like it's play the mellow version of Simple and Clean at my funeral. I want Sanctuary playing when I'm dying. I want that shit playing while I'm fucking running for my life. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take a few motherfuckers out if Sanctuary's playing. I don't know.
You trying to take a couple with you on the way out? Yeah, that's
Facts.
just fair.
It's a must. um,
All
so
right, so
that's our 10. Yeah,
you mellow and chill up until the last 9 tracks, and I'm pretty much just bouncy to the middle and on the way out.
yep, exactly. And I can appreciate that. You kind
All
of
right.
you had your little mellow moment in there though, but yeah.
So did you keep what you left off? Did you keep a list of that?
Let me see if I can find what I had because I had a few songs written down that I left off. My playlist was like 11 or 12, but I can tell you off the top of my head at least a few of them. So one of them that I left off was Midna's Lament from Zelda
See,
because
I remember you mentioning that a few episodes ago, and I was very
yeah,
surprised to not hear that shit.
yeah, that almost made it was Sheik's theme and it was Fee's Gratitude from Skyward Sword. Those were my 3 choices for like interludes in the middle of the joint. Like I wanted something to kind of break up the flow, but I picked Sheik's theme because it doesn't sound like a song. It sounds like a motherfucker standing there strumming a harp. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah. It's just nigga in the background. It's just background music for you
facts. Like
talking.
it
Yeah.
really that feels like an interlude. That feels like somebody's like, hey, this sounds beautiful, huh? All right, on to the next song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, heavy D. It's just the interlude, y'all. It's just the interlude.
Facts. That's a deep ass cut right there. I appreciate
Right.
that
Like,
one.
dog, 14 hours in the car. Waterbed Hev is embedded in my brain. I know
Hey,
that
look,
whole album front to back.
respect. That's a actual legend right there. But yeah, what did you leave off?
All right, so sorry, a song, obviously. Like 60% of my leave off list was Zelda shit.
Of
The
course.
sorry song. There's Twilight Princess overworld theme. Just because I like the horns are heavier on that shit. I just like it. I like horns like on a lot of shit. I really do. I write like horns and piano. I'm pretty much a sucker for.
I was gonna say piano gets me. Yep, every time.
Yeah. Um, Bolero Fire. That is not like the most popular of the dungeon themes in Ocarina of Time, but I just like it's. I'm just a sucker for that shit because it's really dark.
Yeah,
but it's still kind of got like if you put something to it, it's still got a little bounce to it.
it does. It does. Man, you make me remember something now.
Right. The Epona's theme.
Oh yeah, I'm
which
mad I didn't put that
probably
on.
would have been an interlude if I was going to do an interlude. Epona's theme probably would have been an interlude.
That works very well, especially since like if you was having all the upbeat shit and then that just hits you with that, just kind of like, hey, chill for a minute, you know. Side note, before you keep going, I just want to say, if y'all play Tears of the Kingdom, and we need to do like a spoiler cast for that game, by the way. But the fucking opponent's theme in that game, listen, it's a minor spoiler.
It's the one. It's
bro,
the one.
They killed that song in that game. I stopped with the NPCs and listen to that shit. I ain't gonna hold you. Like literally, I just be standing there like, yeah, man.
Turns you into an NPC.
For a hot second. I mean, for real. Yeah. So I respect that one.
Green Hill Zone. Because I think
yep.
that classic Sonic track, but it's just like you can't help but like kind of like nod your head a little bit when you hear that shit. You know?
Absolutely.
The other one I left off, which would tie into my loophole, is Knuckles' theme from Sonic 3. Because it sounds like ghosts, but it also sounds like blood on the dance floor. And there's really nothing to it. It's just
right.
It's just claps. But it has because I know those other two songs.
You can feel that shit when you listen to it.
I can feel that shit. And that's literally all. It's like 40 seconds of that. That's it. But that shit, I just fuck with that shit heavy. Now here's one that I considered doing as an interlude that probably would have caused a significant deal of anxiety amongst anybody who would actually listen to it if we put it together, which is Sonic's "I'm Running Out of Breath" thing. That was going to be like that was going to be like track 8 or 9.
Okay, I mean,
probably 8 going into like that last up tempo joint leading out.
Nah, man, I would need to hear the bubble sound before we can move on with the rest of it.
No. I'm cutting off. It's just nothing but exciting.
They scarred us. They scarred us for a generation,
bro. And I hear that shit when it's raining, and I get scared.
Facts, like, bro, am I drowning right now? Like, it's crazy.
Like I know I'm breathing because I'm doing it more and more, but I feel like I'm gonna die right now. Like I've never heard a song in my life that I associate with dying more than that.
Straight up, honestly.
Not even Mario dying.
I would say the Reigns of what's the fucking song from Game of Thrones?
The Reigns of Castamere.
Yeah. I didn't want to say Castamere wrong. Yeah, but that
I
in the
Sonic. How you say it. I don't give a fuck about saying
no. Listen. It's that in the Sonic drowning song. Those are the two most threatening fucking music pieces of all time.
I hear that violin. I'm out. I'm out.
100%.
I don't care what I'm doing, where I'm at. I'm gone. No,
you've learned 100%.
Oh yeah. And my last one is just the classic Zelda overworld theme.
Okay, yeah. That's like
I said, I had to lead like I said, 60-70% of it was Zelda shit. Right, and that's just like part of the list. Like I had a bunch of other stuff that I left off.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's ones I could slide in from Zelda onto your list, much less mine. Like Dragon Roost Island would have fit perfectly in there anywhere. Like that joint got the same vibe. I think my Gerudo Valley theme is Dragon Roost Island. Like I think that joint hit me the same way Gerudo Valley hit you. It's got that same bounce, that same, tempo. I do remember a few that I left off actually. So I did take. I mentioned already that I was going to put Lurelin Village's theme on there. I was also kind of debating the Rito Village theme from Breath of the Wild because man, that's just beautiful. Like I really just loved like the whole progression of that. It's such a chill ass song. Let's see, what else did I
Breath of the
have?
Wild, Tears of Kingdom has some of the best orchestration in all of the Zelda games.
Man, people do not appreciate it. Oh, like people do not appreciate it enough, honestly. It is so subtle. Like there's so many subtleties to it, but it's so fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Um, I was going see my one that I was like, I just kind of need this bounce on here is the Turks theme from Final Fantasy VII. I feel like
Okay.
motherfuckers sleep on that shit. So, matter of fact, is it even the Turks theme? I think it's like Under the Rotting Pizza is the name of it on the remake.
I don't know the it's like when you say I don't know the technical term, but I know what it is.
Right, you know what I'm talking about. The fucking
Yeah,
song that plays when the Turks pull up. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
That's what it Turks theme. That's what it is.
Yep, 100%. That shit, man. I really love that song. There's Final Fantasy VII. I could just flood the list with that. I couldn't find a place for um what is her name? Bellatrix? No, I can't even remember her name right now. But from Final Fantasy IX, um, she's got a really Beatrix's theme from Final Fantasy IX. I really like that song, but it's like if I was going for a medieval vibe, like then it might have fit on
Yeah,
there.
if
But I,
it,
you
if it,
know,
but nah, you'd have been hella out of place. You'd have been the knight
facts.
sitting underwater, looking around like,
You know what I
nah,
mean? It's
nah.
just it don't
See, I
really fit,
purposely left Final Fantasy shit out just because I figured you would have some on there.
and that's
I
it.
like
Yep,
that was a game I left alone entirely.
I appreciate it because like I definitely had the debate pretty heavy about Final Fantasy X music. That fucking game has songs, bro. Like
Man,
it's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we came up with some pretty good playlists here, honestly. Um,
I left Pokemon shit out. Like,
I left Pokemon shit out too, just because there was something that it doesn't fit right with other songs to me. Like it's so singularly Pokemon. That shit just
yeah,
makes me
that's
think
true.
of Pokemon, you know.
Yeah, you
But
couldn't like fit that shit in and say I'm a chill listening to this and nothing like that.
and there's a few that you probably could, but I just, they didn't come to mind. First of all, let me just say, tasking me with remembering video game songs makes all the video game songs just fucking just come out of my brain like physically. Like I could see them pouring out of my ears. As soon
Was
as
it?
I
Well,
had this task,
that's why I
man,
wanted to do this though because we both obviously love music and we both love it from two different places because you
right,
do it.
right.
I I have a great ear for music, but I have no musical talent.
Yeah,
You do. So that's where like you have the musical talent, you have the ear for it, you know what you listening for and stuff. For me,
right.
it's just I know music, I love music, and I'm a nerd about it. So I wanted to see
Yeah.
where those two things would converge.
And it's interesting because like and that is actually really fascinating because a lot of times what you'll have is I'll come in, I'll be like, yeah, I fucked with the vibe of this. This felt like this, and you'll be like, yeah, I picked this one because it had you'll sound like a music nerd more so than me, and I'll sound more like I'm just going with the flow of the shit or whatever. That's why my last two tracks completely different than the fucking so-called theme I was trying to go for. But somehow I feel like they fit. That shit just the vibe is there, you know.
Sometimes you got to pick it up a little bit.
And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, and it really is like some of the hardest parts of making music, making that shit sequential. That's one thing that music kind of doesn't really prioritize as much nowadays. And I'm not getting on my old man soapbox here, but I feel like when you put out an excess of music, like your album is 20 tracks, or you putting out a mixtape every 2 weeks, you're not really putting that care into which track goes where and like how this plays out and what do you like, what story are you telling? Not even literally necessarily, but like what story is being told sonically through the progression of your music. And you can kind of feel that we both appreciate when it's consistent and when it flows into each other. Video game music has that same vibe.
Yeah.
I, you
Because
know,
I mean, you go town to town, like the music changes. It shouldn't feel jarring. It should just feel seamless. Like when you put an
right.
album together, you can tell when a motherfucker paid attention to sequencing and when they didn't. Because when they didn't, you'll get to like track 5 and it'll stop you. Like you'll
Mm-hmm.
literally just turn it off and go, "What the fuck is like?" It actually makes the album worse. You'll think the album is ass just because they didn't sequence it right, and
Yep.
it might not be ass.
Yeah.
I've literally downloaded albums from niggas and resequenced it myself.
Man, yes. Yes. I will tell you the most famous example of that. And we're not turning this into a music podcast, I promise, but or are we
I mean,
even
look,
really
we talk about everything on here.
Yeah.
We knew we was going quick with the game and mixtape stuff. So,
Exactly. So we'll
get a
probably
little
end up
extra on the back end.
Yeah, we'll probably end up wrapping it up soon. I do want to talk a little bit just like about gaming soundtracks for a second, but I just want to throw this out there. And normally you want to hear me talk too much about Kanye. I'm not touching that shit. But that's what happened with Yeezus. Kanye's the first moments of like Kanye being like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna do things people don't want me to do. Was him taking Yeezus and scrambling, like putting the track list on shuffle. That's why Yeezus was so fucking jarring. Like that album was supposed
it
to
jarring
open.
Or was it just ass?
That's the thing. Like you said, it can seem ass. There's some good songs. Blood on the Leaves is supposed to.
You got hit me with the right sequence in it.
Listen, Blood on the Leaves is supposed to open that album. You know what I mean? That's like the most melodic Kanye ass song ever. If you can slot Black Skinhead and I Am a God and all these songs into the right place, you can build up to that fucking like rattled fucking like metal ass sound. Like you can. There's actually a reordered track list of it, I think, and it kind of shows you like what he might have been going for. I'm sure some shit got changed more so than the track list. And I'm not saying it's a good album. I'm not saying anything about Kanye really. I'm just saying that was like the most famous example of that shit that I could think of. That does happen. Like that. I think that's what happened with Yeezus.
So I have one, and it's literally moving one track, and it's always bothered the living fuck out of me ever since the album dropped. And like I fuck with Asher Roth. Okay. I mean, you know that. Like
yeah, absolutely.
Paps and Jazz, like that's one of my favorite mixtapes ever. I fuck with all this shit.
Yep.
His first album, Asleep in the Bread Aisle. For whatever reason, he did the As I Am track and put it on track 8. But he ends the song. The last line of the song is, if you have no further questions and can't think of other thoughts, then I'd like to introduce you to Asher Paul Roth. Why was that not track 1? If the whole story of that track is, don't compare me to Eminem. I fuck with him. He's the reason I'm here, but I'm doing my own thing. This is me. And you end it with that line and it's track 8? Yeah. Dog, that has bothered me forever.
I get that. I absolutely, like, it feels like it's an introduction to you once somebody's already been introduced to you, you know? Yeah.
Dog, yeah. When I downloaded it, I immediately made the switch.
There's times when it matters. Like, it really can take away from an album. You know, I remember when Jiz's album dropped, Forever Story, and it dropped without the track 2007.
The actual outro.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, at first I had heard 2007 because the song had like released before the album.
Yeah, he dropped it on YouTube. He just couldn't clear the sample to put it on.
In fact, I think that's why it released on YouTube, like because he knew he wasn't going to clear it. But eventually, they got things worked out, and it's now like out there as an extended version. I'm like, this is the real album. Like, this is just the
No, I immediately deleted the other version and downloaded the extended one.
Absolutely,
because it fits better.
The artist vision.
It makes the second half of the album better. Because like I wouldn't stop, but I would slow down like right after I think Money. I think that was the track where I would kind of slow down and like I might go, turn something else on, or I would come back to it and finish it up. But with the outro on it, the way that flow all the way out, no skips. Yep.
Feel that. It does. It just makes it off like so much more sequential, and I love it. Music is fascinating, and we really should talk more about how music impacts games. Like video games, they touch on something really special, and the music that you associate with them can kind of bring that to a head. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard, I mean, going back through this list, hearing some of these old tracks, like nostalgia, goosebumps all day. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Just listen to it, you can feel like you're playing it a little bit. And it's pretty cool. Like, I appreciate that. So I want to do another one of these soon. Like, this is actually a dope ass idea. It was hard as fuck, but it was a dope idea.
And then the thing is that we're not holding ourselves to a best of list. So it's not like a one-off thing where we can't go back to it, because then people will go, well, you changed your mind. You said this 12 episodes ago. Nah, it's just a mixtape. We can do another one. We can do a
Exactly.
volume 2. It's all
Man,
good.
you know how many burnt CDs I had stacked up in my room?
Bruh.
Mixtapes. You just make another one every week, man. Why not? Um, but no, we will definitely come back to this concept. I think that's going to be a good place to start kind of wrapping it up. Slightly shorter episode this week, but we'll be back next week with even more greatness. I definitely want you guys to reach out to us and let us know what your favorite video game soundtracks were, man. Like some of your feedback on our playlists. Check out our playlist in the comments because we should have them up by the time the video is out. And make sure you follow us. Interact with us on Twitter. I'm Atlas Kenny. Tony is Peagle05. And Eclipse Theory is at Eclipse Theory. We are at Eclipse.theory on Threads and Instagram. So just, holler at us, like, subscribe, follow, leave reviews and comments on this video and on the podcast because we want to know what we're doing right. And we want to hear your feedback on what you like and what you don't like because we can make this a channel for you, man. And also,
and it gets us seen, man. The more exposure for us, the better it is for y'all.
Facts, man. We're here to build on the community that's been built in gaming, especially the Black community or the underrepresented communities in gaming. And we want to give a platform to those who don't really have one. Like, there's been so much turmoil in this side of things, like the journalism side of things, the front-facing part of the games industry that we kind of were on some Thanos, we'll do it ourselves and started Eclipse Theory. So we're just hoping to keep this going and give y'all something new to kind of keep up with the games industry and discuss things that we all love. So
and on some real shit, man, we gotta keep games journalism alive, man. Like,
yeah,
this shit can't really grow when it's just the fans talking amongst themselves. Like, it's cool. We can build communities like that, but you need the criticism, you need the creativity, you need all of that stuff, man. Like, we all grew up on EGM, Game Pro, tips and tricks, all of that shit, man. OPM, Xbox Magazine, Nintendo Power. We grew up on all that shit, man. That shit is important. It raised us as gamers in a way. We can all remember that one particular magazine that we have that is the one to us.
Yeah.
We, some of us had all of them. It's like the console war. Some of us had all of them, and some of us stuck to like the particulars. EGM was my shit. I would get Game Pros, but EGM was my go-to. Yep. That's just the way we came up, man. We losing some of that shit with, people trying to mess with AI and get people to write, and getting people off of writing and all that other stuff, firing folks, letting people go. And, freelancing is tough to get out here, man. Like, we got to keep this shit alive, man. This is important.
Absolutely, man. Very, very important. So, even beyond us, go support your favorite, games journalists, anybody who's streaming,
Facts.
Anybody.
We're not competing out here, man. We try and make it.
Support everybody. We all need these voices. There's so many different types of voices out there, and there's something for everybody, So let's keep this going together. That's all we can say. And on a final note, go listen to Secret of the Forest from Chrono Trigger. That'll make your night a lot better. I promise you it will. I promise you. But until next time, man, I am Kendall. This is Tony, and make sure you keep gaming. Take care.